Hello and welcome to Tyrrell Time. I'm Ivan Doroshuk. We can dance if we want to, we can leave your friends behind because your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then they're no friends of mine. This is the 2003 Pre.Season episode, and we have a lot to look at for the season ahead. We finished the 2002 season on such incredible form. The car seemed to be completely on point for most of the races, particularly on race pace after the B evolution. Shinji Nakano made a late run on the Drivers' Championship. Hiroshi Tanaka, not a very happy boy still, despite our strong end to the season. He's driving for his career in the opening rounds of this season. Meanwhile, we have a new technical director in the form of Minardi and Toyota man Gustav Brunner. Robert Dassault joins us as chief mechanic. However, we retain Japanese chief designer Osamu Goto and our commercial manager Fritz Kaiser. Let us first of all take a look at our drivers and see if any of them have gained any talents. So, Shinji Nakano has improved in terms of poor weather and concentration. However, what we aren't seeing is much in the way of improvement from Hiroshi Tanaka. He's now 30 years old. Carl Eisen is 32 and already better, despite never having held a race seat. Tanaka does have one fastest lap to his name and 4 points finishes, but no points, no pole positions, and 0 wins. Carl Eisen looks like an obvious choice. However, we are supposed to be fielding Japanese drivers. Is Toru Takagi available? He's not available to 2005. There are no other, I believe, Japanese drivers in the field. So available to us, we have a few people. We have Patrick Rainbow. Yeah, not especially interesting. And this is part of our pre-season preamble ramble, by the way. You'll see why shortly. Dario Loretti, quite talented for a rookie and comes with $10 million in backing. Paul Johnson is useless. Gavin Elliott, also pretty crap. You are crap. You are also crap. So really, it's a choice, I suppose, between Dario Loretti and his 10 million quids, Carl Eisen, or keeping Hiroshi Tanaka for the sake of the playthrough. There are other drivers available that we'll look at in the next episode. I just want to take a moment to look at the non-F1 talent and show you what's available. This is also a chance to show us the driver lineups for the teams this year. So it's all changed at Arrows. John Fellows, the previous test driver, he has joined as equal number one with incumbent Olivier Panis. Now, Fellows depends how well he develops. Actually, has he gained any points from his test seat? No, he hasn't. So he's probably going to be the weak link in that team, one would think. But the game works in mysterious ways. Olivier Panis holds on to his seat until 2006. He's on a long-term deal. That means, if I recall correctly, Mika Salo has been dropped from Arrows. Jürg Muller will be their test driver. Down at Benetton, it's Ralf Schumacher and Esteban Tuero holding on to their seats. I think they were both there last season. Juan Pablo Montoya is their reserve driver. Not much to say about that lineup, really. Ralf Schumacher does have some good traits. He is technically a good driver, but he never seems to perform super well in this game, and Benetton have been in a bit of a no man's land, really. Esteban Tuero can get quite good, actually, and he does look fairly competent. He comes with financial backing, which will boost their coffers. Down at Ferrari, it's Heinz-Harald Frentzen and Johnny Newhouse for the third season in a row, I want to say. No, it's not, because apparently Newhouse is on a 2-season deal. Oh, it's a new 2-season deal, because it was Newhouse and Frentzen at Ferrari last year, I'm sure of it. Newhouse is one of the best drivers in the game, so is Heinz-Harald Frentzen, so really it comes down to how well Ferrari have put together their machinery this year. Very, very difficult to say until we dive in a little bit more into the power units and so on. Luca Badoa is their test driver. Not much to write home about there. Actually, no, Panis was at Jordan, wasn't he? Panis was at Jordan, so it is all change arrows. I was correct. Because, yes, Pedro Diniz moves to Jordan. He is one of the best drivers in the game. Look at those stats. Look at those stats. No wins yet, but 24 points finishes. Pretty hardcore. Jordan are a team that always seem to be near the sharp end so far. He partners Tora Takagi, who has been at Jordan for a season already and will stay there till 2005. Jan Magnussen is their test driver until 2006. McLaren, it's the last year potentially if David Coulthard, Damon Hill, all British lineup. Both of them incredibly good drivers. I rate Damon Hill in this game very, very, very highly indeed. He is not retiring as far as we can tell. So good on you, Damon. You carry it on, mate. Meanwhile, Coulthard, of course, will always deliver big whenever the car supports him. Mika Salo will be taking on the test duties there. Down at Minardi, Alessandro Marini and Riccardo Rosset keep their seats until 2006, so that's a retention from last season. Riccardo Zonta supporting them. At Prost, Laurent Redon takes one of the race seats at Prost on a one-season deal. Jarno Trulli is retained until 2005 with Andrea Montemini on test duties there. Trulli, of course, going to be the key to how well that team performs. Trulli can get quite good in this game, but so far he hasn't really flourished. Down at Sauber, Rubens Barrichello stays on as number one driver. Excellent driver in this game, well worth your time. Emmanuel Collard and his stupid Ginger Buffont will be backing him up. Johnny Herbert steps down to testing duties. Meanwhile at Stewart, Eddie Irvine, joint number one until 2005. Stefan Sarazan out of contract this year. Celso Moriera is their test driver. Irvine, obviously the strongest link in that particular chain. Very, very, very good driver, also quite expensive. Down at Tyrrell, Shinji Nakano and Hiroshi Tanaka stay on for another season. Carl Eisen is retained as our test driver. And then at Williams, Mika Hakkinen, retained of course in the number one driver role, backed up by Giancarlo Fisichella, and Alexander Wurz is their test driver. I would rate this as the best three driver lineup on the grid, to be quite honest with you. The best two driver lineup I would probably put at either McLaren or Ferrari, but as a three driver lineup, this is superlative. Fisichella and Wurz both out of contract this year. What else is going on up and down the grid? We are fully contracted up, with the exception of Chief Mechanic Robert Dassault. Let's hire him some more staff now we've got a bigger factory before we forget. Dassault out of contract this season. We want to keep him if we can, but Carl Gaydon is also an option, though he is more expensive. I'm prepared to put quite a bit of money into extending this deal. Usually when it's a level 5 guy, they will only ever sign for one season. Let's see what he says. He needs a bigger championship bonus. We can do something about that. Let's talk. Gustav Brunner on a 2-season deal, and then Osamu Goto and Fritz Kaiser. They're both due for new negotiations next year. So on the engineering side, looking at our car, there are some very obvious weak points, notably brakes, electronics. However, we did invest well in our clutch and hydraulics, and that has paid off. Brakes are going to be an early priority for me, so let's get that on. We're working on a driver aid, but I'm going to reduce the amount of guys working on that to 30%, and we will immediately kick off working on next year's car, because you never know your luck. We are again on partner Mugen Honda Power. The engine has pretty much reset. A little bit more power and reliability than the default engine we got last year, but still nothing to be super excited about. We don't have priority from them. They will be a very important partner that we are renegotiating with this year, because the rules of the playthrough demand that we retain them, but we really need priority support from them, or else we're just not going to get new power units, and that's really the weakest area of our technical setup at the moment. Tyres, we have a works deal with priority from Bridgestone. Looking at the tyres, really not good. Particularly the intermediates a week. We're going to be doing a lot of tyre testing, and on our race fuels, we again have full control and priority work support. Again, going to be doing a lot of testing. It's going to be very, very expensive. In terms of the factory, we are going to be investing in some new upgrades. Whether we go for a supercomputer or a testing rig or a workshop is anyone's guess right now. I haven't decided myself, but we can certainly figure that out. I've already set up some people that we want to be talking to, and I've already assigned some sponsor people. Please ignore that because I'll talk about it in the next episode. But basically, all our major contracts are up for renewal. Team sponsor, I've got people talking to everyone at the lower end to see if we can negotiate anything good. In terms of power units, so there are two Works Mercedes-Benz powered teams this year in the form of McLaren and Arrows. That's a huge grab for Arrows. Ferrari are on a partner deal with them, and as you can see, they're still top of the pile in terms of money and research and development. Ferrari have a works deal with Sauber. That's a bit of a big result for them as well. Peugeot have a partner deal with Prost, and Mugen Honda have partner deals with ourselves and Stewart. Ford will be providing works power to Williams and partner power to Jordan, who moved there from Ferrari. Benetton are also on Ford power as a partner. Minardi are buying Mechachrome units. Now let's take a look at this season's power units. The Mercedes looking very, very strong. A bit of a weakness on rigidity, which can cause rear wing failure. Let's only hope. Ferrari, a very middle of the road power unit there. They're very good at heat management, along with the Peugeot. The Peugeot power unit actually looks, to my eye, a little preferable. The Mugen Honda unit is actually not terrible, really. It's probably most comparable to the Mechachrome units, just with a different focus. I'd certainly take the Mugen Honda over this year's Ferrari, looking at it. And it's not a million miles behind the Ford. The Hart units actually look okay as well, really. So there's not really a clear loser in engines this year. In terms of tyres, I think we are on the losing side of the tyre war quite clearly. Bridgestone tyres are a lot weaker than Goodyear, hugely weaker. And I believe that's because last year we were the only Bridgestone team. This year we are joined by Stewart, Minardi and Benetton, which should hopefully aid with research and development. However, Goodyear, best tyres by a noticeable margin, which suggests we're going to have a slow start to the season for all the Bridgestone runners. McLaren works, Goodyear deal. Arrows are only a customer that could potentially hold them back, while Williams have a partnership. Ferrari are also a works partner of Goodyear. Jordan are purchasing customers, and Sauber are in a partnership. Prost choosing to also to buy their rubber from Goodyear this year. Stewart have a partnership with Bridgestone. Ourselves and Benetton are the works partners, and Minardi are paying customers. Down in Fuel Town, Shell have two works deals this year with ourselves and McLaren. McLaren seem to have works deals across the board, which suggests they're going to be very strong with that driver lineup as well. Arrows have a partnership deal with Mobil 1, Stewart taking the works contract there. Texaco are partners with Minardi, and Sauber are paying customers. Jordan purchasing Agip fuels, Benetton returning to Agip after a period with Total, I think it was, as a partner. Total into a partnership with Prost. Repsol and Petrobras have no paying customers, and Williams purchasing their fuels from Elf. Ferrari are a partner. – Looking at the data here, Repsol, very, very strong, but they're not on the grid this year due to a lack of partners. Um, Total actually looks quite good. Agip, very, very, very power focused, as are Petrobras, but very weak on the engine tolerance side of the equation. I'd say Shell was probably the best one to start with. It's a good all-rounder, shouldn't provide any technical impediment for us, and it's a good base to build from through testing. So, moving onwards, let's take a further look at the concurrence for this year. No, where is this information? It's not there. That's always good to know. Okay, fine. So, in quick summary, and this is a fairly short video. The teams I'm most concerned about really are going to be particularly McLaren. Presuming they've produced a good car this year and last year was just something of a blip, they seem very, very well placed. Arrows are kind of hard to read. They've been a close rival of ours for a few seasons now. They do have Works Mercedes power, which is going to be a huge asset, but they don't have Works contracts elsewhere, although they are on the right tyre crucially. So we should be able to out-develop them from a tyre standpoint, but they certainly start the season on the stronger footing. Benetton seem to be on the comeback trail. Jordan are a little harder to place because they seem to be losing out on a few of their work steals. As for who's going to be bottom of the pile, it's hard really to get away from Prost and Stewart again. Minardi could also slip back. Their driver lineup particularly weak in the form of Marini and Collard. Yeah, tough call to see where this season's going to go. But thank you very much for joining me. I want to finish on an interesting side point. Over at the Failcast F1 podcast, we are doing a Fantasy F1 league this year via the official Formula One Fantasy F1 game. I'm going to stick a link in the description to this very video, and you are more than welcome to come and join us. And who knows, maybe the winner at the end of the season even earns themselves a little prize. Who knows? Take care of yourselves, guys. We will talk again super, super soon, I hope. Bye bye for now.